cancel out and you will get 5, right? So then we will move to the next topic. Evaluate numerical expression using any of the 4 basic operations on the real number. You should know when in any expression these 4 operations are being used, how to solve it. There may be other um, uh, operations like the brackets, the exponents, right? So you always have to solve the brackets first, then the exponents, then division, then multiplication, then addition and subtraction, right? So you may also call it as Bode-Mass rule, right? The Mass rule. So evaluate the following expression. Here you have given the values of u, v, and w, right? You just need to plug in their values. For example, what the first expression shows, w plus 5 minus v. So what's the value of w? It's 11 plus 5 minus what's v? V is negative 8, right? So you should know the operation on integers. Like here, this is negative and this is negative. You know negative times negative is positive. You should remember positive times positive is always positive. Positive times negative is negative. Negative times positive is also negative. Negative times negative is positive, right? So negative times negative is positive. So you may also write it as 11 plus 5 plus 8. And we know what is 11 plus 5 because all the operations are addition. So you don't need to uh, see the preferences, right? So you will simply add them. 11 plus 5 is 16. 16 plus 8 is 24, right? Similarly, you can try this question and this question because they are simply the addition and subtraction, right? The important thing is that when all the operations like the division, multiplication, the brackets and addition, subtraction, all that involves, then how will you simplify it? First of all, you have to solve the brackets, right? Yeah, you may also call it as Bode-Mass. Brackets are first, then division, then multiplication, then addition, and then subtraction. So first of all, we will solve this 12 minus 8. You know 12 minus 8 is just 4, right? 28 divided by 7. Then you have to solve for the divisions. This is a division. 28 divided by 7. What is 28 divided by 7? You know it's just 4, right? Then we have two operations, multiplication and addition. According to this rule, you should solve multiplication first. So what is 9 times 4? 9 times 4 is 36, right? So it will become 36 plus 4, and you know 36 plus 4 is 40. So the answer for this question will be 40. Here you should know about solving the additions, multiplication, subtraction, and division, right? You here this was a simple question involving just the whole numbers, right? You may apply this rule on fractions, on decimals, right? And you should know the order of operation in this topic. So we have a question involving fraction here. We will try to solve this one. Here what you can see, and the three operations are division, addition, and the exponent. So first of all, you will solve the exponent, right? It's 1 half to the power of 3. What do you mean by half to the power of 3? It means 1 over 2 times 1 over 2 times 1 over 2, right? So it will become 1 times 1 times 1. You will multiply numerators with numerators and denominators with denominators. So it will become 1 over 8. Then it's 3 over 2, then divided by 2 over 3, right? Then you will simplify the, here you have two operations, addition and division. You have to simplify the division first, right? So how will you solve the division if you have a division sign in between two fractions? To solve it, you will convert the division sign into multiplication and flip this fraction, swap this fraction, right? It's 3 over 2. You will convert the division sign into multiplication and swap this fraction. So it will become 3 times 3 is 9 and 2 times 2 is 4. So if you solve this division, it will become 9 over 4. So what was here? It was 1 over 8 plus 9 over 4. Then you should know how to solve this addition between the two fractions. So to solve the addition and subtraction of two fractions, the denominators must be equal. You have to equate the denominators, right? So how will you equate the denominators? It's 9 over 4 is 1. This is the smaller denominator. You will make it 8. So you will times it by 2 and times this by 2, right? So what will it become? it will become 1 over 8 plus 9 times 2 is 18 over 8. So here you got the denominators equal, right? You will just add the numerators, but you have to write the denominator as it is. You don't have to add the denominators, right? You can't write 8 plus 8. You have just to write the denominator once and add the numerators. 1 plus 18 is 19, right? So 19 over 8 is the answer, right? So this was about the BODMAS rule. Then we have to discuss convert among fractions, percents, and decimals. So this is also important. You should know how to convert a fraction into decimal and percent. First of all, we will see how to convert fractions into decimals, right? So you may have different types of fractions, like few fractions are very simple. 5 over 10, right? So 5 over 10, it will be equal to 0.5, right? The simplest way is that you will divide the numerator by the denominator, right? So you can say 5 is smaller than 10. You will put 0 point here and a 0 here, right? So then 10 times 5 is 50, right? So it will become 0.5. Also, you may simplify it, like if you divide both of them by 5, you will get 1 half, and we know 1 half equals to 0.5. So if you convert it into a decimal, it will be 0.5, right? Similarly, for example, if you have a number like 2 over 3, right? And if you have to convert it into, this is a fraction, if you have to convert it into a decimal, you will divide, what's the numerator? You have to write the numerator here and denominator here, right? You know how to divide this number. We put a 0 here. 3 times 6 is 18. You will subtract it. 2, you will put a 0 here again. 3 times 6 is 18, right? 3 times 6. So it will continue in this way. So if you convert 2 over 3 into a decimal, it will be 0.666. It's a non-terminating decimal, right? You may also write it like this, because just one digit is repeating, just 6 is repeating. You may also write it as bar on 6, right? So that's a way to convert fractions into decimal, right? Then you will see how to convert fractions into percent, right? We will discuss it here, how to convert fractions into percentage. If you have 1 over 2, it's a fraction, right? And if you have to convert it into percentage, it's very simple. You will times it by 100, right? So it will become 100 divided by 2, and you know 100 divided by 2 is 50. Similarly, if you have a number like 4 over 5, it's a fraction. If you have to convert it into percentage, you will times it by 100, right? So it will become 400 divided by 5, and so it will become 5 times 8 is 40, and 5 times 0 is 0. So it will become 80%, right? And if you have a number like 2 over 3, if you have to convert it into percentage, you will times it by 100, right? It will become 200 divided by 3, so it will become 66.6666, right? Percentage. So you may also write it as 66.67% by rounding it to 2 digits. So in simple words, to convert a fraction into percentage, you will times it by 100, right? Then we have to see how to convert decimals to fraction and percentage. So to convert decimals to fraction, what will you do? For example, if you have 0.3, right? It's a decimal. You have to convert it into percentage. So it's very simple. And like what we did with the fractions, we have to do the same with the decimal. Like if you have to convert it into a percentage, you will times it by 100. So it becomes just 30%, right? Similarly, if you have 0.75, it's a decimal, you have to convert it into percentage, you will times it by 100. So it will become 75%, right? And then how to convert decimal to that was conversion of decimal to percentage. Then how to convert decimal to fraction? For example, if you have 0.5, a simple decimal, right? It's important to understand how will you convert it into a fraction. you will instead you will remove this decimal point, right? Instead of this decimal point, you will write 1 in the denominator, and then you will see how many digits are here after the decimal. So there is just one digit, you will put 10, right? So it will become 5 over 10, and if you simplify it by dividing both of them by 5, you will get half. So 0.5 is half, 1 over 2 in fraction, right? Like if you have two digits, you can see is 0.75, right? You have two digits after the decimal, so you will divide it. Instead of this decimal point, you will write 1 and put two zeros here, so it will become 75 over 100. And if we divide both of them by 5, right, it will become 15 over 20. Again, if you divide them by 5, it will become 3 over 4. So 3 over 4 is the fractional form of 0.75. Similarly, if you have three digits there, right, 250, you will divide that by thousands, right? And similarly, if there are four digits, you will divide that by 10,000 and simplify that, right? Then you should know how to convert percent to decimals. Percent to decimal is very simple. For example, if you have 60%, right? If you had to convert 60% into a decimal, it's very simple. You will write first as a fraction 60 over 100, right? And if you divide 60 by 100, it will become 0.6, right? If you have 25% and you had to convert it into a decimal, you will write 25 over 100. Percent means 100. So instead of 25%, we will write 25 over 100. That is 0.25, right? So that's the conversion of percentage into decimal. Similarly, if you had to convert percentage into fraction, you will do the same thing, but you will simplify the fraction. For example, if you have 35%, right? This is the conversion of percentage to fraction, right? 35%, you will write 35 instead of percentage, you will write 100. And if you simplify this fraction by dividing both of them by 5, 5 times 7 is 35, 5 times 20 is 100. So 7 over 20 will be the fractional form of 35%, right? Then we have to see list this set of the factors and multiples of a given integer. So what are factors? Factors are the numbers by which we can divide a number completely, right? For example, if we have a number 6, 6 can be completely divided by 1, 2, 3, and 6. So these are the factors of 6, right? Similarly, if we take a number 24, we can completely divide 24 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24 itself. All these are the factors of 24. Similarly, if we look at number 15, right, we can divide 15 by 1, 3, 5, and 15. These are called the factors of 15, right? These are factors of 24. You can write the factors. For example, in the exam paper, if you have been asked to write the factors of 18, so you should know, or you have to count from 1. Either we can divide 18 by 1 or no. You may say yes. Either we can divide 18 by 2 or not. Yes. Either we can divide 18 by 3. Yes. Can we divide 18 by 4? No. So you will not write 4 here. 4 is not a factor of 18. Can we divide it by 5? No. Can we divide it by 6? Yes. Then can we divide it by 7? No. Then 8? No. Then 9? Yes. Similarly, we can't divide it by 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and we will simply divide it by 18. So these are the factors of 18, right? And what are multiples? Multiples are the numbers which can be divided by a number. For example, if we can see 2, the multiples of 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. These numbers are multiples of 2. And what are multiples of 5? 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 4 is 20. All these are multiples of 5. For example, in the exam paper, you have been asked to write the first 4 multiples of 8. So what are the first 4 multiples of 8? 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32, right? So these are 4 multiples of 8. So we will stop today's lecture here, right? We will discuss the a higher common factor and least common multiples and other topics in the next lecture. So see you in the next lecture. Bye.